We are not ready yet to call if that has in fact been the case, if Proposition 1 has passed. We have hand sanitizer, everything here to try and make sure that you stay safe as a voter. Those residents want to know, why 2 new high schools? Well, we start answering that question with Wichita Falls High School, where the body of 34-year-old William Wright was discovered early this morning. As you can see behind me, the crime tape is still here. With these cotton plants, this is how they're looking right now. As you can see, all these balls are just dried up, frozen, and dead. And right behind me where I am now, just off of Seymour Highway, that's the proposed location for that second high school. We also have court documents from the 20th Judicial District in Love County, Oklahoma, that does find that Brown had pleaded guilty to a felony methamphetamine drug possession charge. It's one of those. It's actually going to be something schools all over the nation are currently adopting, and it's wearing masks at all time. And district leaders tell me they're also having to figure out how to make remote learning available to a community that's primarily rural. Dr. Peter Griffith says all of these protocols that are in place are making a fall 2020 in person seem more attainable. Less than a week after Congressman Thornberry announced he wouldn't be running for re-election, the first Republican candidate filed for his seat.
There is a new normal, but these are our realities that we live in currently, and we need to adapt to our new realities because school must continue.
That new normal is students in masks at desks that are 6 feet apart. The hallways of Southern Hills Elementary School are now marked with neon duct tape. Students are able to attend class live, straight from their homes.
We're starting to see how this will work and realize that yes, it will work.
The Wichita Falls ISD has been planning since May how to safely welcome back students to the classroom for summer school. Ashley Lamb, the summer learning principal, says the guidelines have made the days longer but are necessary for students to be there.
So it's just a lot of parts working together to make it run smoothly.
Every Monday, students are verbally screened to make sure they are not presenting symptoms before school. Everyone gets their temperature checks, and teachers work with students to make sure they are properly washing their hands and using hand sanitizer before coming into the classroom. While there are about 100 students here for summer school, Dr. Peter Griffith says all of these protocols that are in place are making a fall 2020 in person seem more attainable.
And we felt that yes, we need to move forward because school has to move forward. We have to get this done. We have to get this done.
You're thinking ahead to the fall when we have more students here, and how is this going to look when we have the majority of our families possibly on campus, and you're constantly tweaking your thinking and your strategies and ideas about how to make that work, but it's very exciting.
Dr. Griffith says even with staff and students following the rules while on campus, it will be what happens off-site that makes difference this next school year.
We can control our campus. We can control the sanitization. We can control kids wearing masks. We can control those aspects. What we can't control is behaviors after school when kids go back home.
If we're coming with a positive attitude and a willingness to be flexible because it's going to look different, but trusting our school staff, our school leaders, that is huge.
Emily Bjorklund, News Channel 6. 2 new high schools. That's what's slated for the Wichita Falls ISD's upcoming bond election. But with the district asking for $290 million and also asking Wichita Falls residents to raise their property taxes, those residents want to know, why 2 new high schools? Well, we start answering that question with Wichita Falls High School, a building the district hopes will no longer house students after 2025. Built in 1922, the current home of the Coyotes is beginning to show its age.
The inefficiency of the windows are a challenge. So you have very, very tall ceilings because there once was no air conditioning. We continue to do our routine maintenance and just cross our fingers that nothing major pops up that's going to create an issue.
WFISD Superintendent Michael Kurt says it would take nearly $90 million in renovations to make Wichita Falls High School last another 60 years.
The question is, do you want to be in that building for another 60 years or do something different?
Does that become a concern for a building that's this old, that there is going to be a major infrastructure problem that's going to create an issue for students or for teachers or for staff that are kind of that have to use the building every single day?
I would say anytime you push back a maintenance issue, it elevates in priority.
We have to do something.
And while the school has a rich history, when you look down the road to the Career Education Center, which was built in 2017, you see what a 21st century high school could be.
The CEC is a direct reflection that the citizens in Wichita Falls understand and see a value in providing an educational opportunity for kids that might want to go into a trade.
The CEC was built so that a majority of the building's weight rested on its main frame. If the district wants to tear down or build new walls to create new spaces, it would require minimal time and money.
In other words, you can tear it down and change the configuration and build a new one fairly easy.
To be able to take a school and be able to be flexible based on what needs to happen for that class or for that year or for the years to come for classes that we don't even know how they're going to exist. So that flexibility is key in my mind.
The size and shape of classrooms would change based on the needs of students and teachers, versus in Wichita Falls High School, where students are stuck sitting in what officials call cemetery formation.
Our older buildings have CMU, they have brick, they have concrete walls that are 18 inches thick, and they're load-bearing walls, and you can't change that structure substantially.
Although over $100 million is a hefty price tag for a new school, Kurt and Woolsey say it's worth it when it comes to the students.
I think for me it's not just the cost, but it's also the ability to provide a learning environment for today's kiddos.
Our students are missing out on 21st century, let alone 22nd century learning opportunities in the current facilities that we have.
Leah Ham can't even walk into her own home without putting a mask on. All over, she and other families living in homes owned by Balfour Beatty are finding mold.
And in the bathrooms, people were pushing on their tiles, they were caving in, and all the sheetrock or the drywall was rotted and there was mold behind it.
For the 4 years she's lived at that address, she knew something was wrong. And when she found it in her kitchen ceilings,
it was validating, but just crushing.
She says she's filed multiple work orders with Balfour Beatty, but she feels her concerns aren't being listened to.
We've gotten the gambit. Like today I was told it was just dog hair and dirt in my HVAC system. And we've tested it. It's not just that.
And over at Freedom Estates, another off-base housing option for military families, Rebecca Dozier says she's had to beg the company.
On my knees begging for help because we were so sick.
Despite the multiple cries for help, they both say Balfour Beatty is just patching the problem.
This is what people do, come in and spray primer over mold and say that, oh, see, it's good, you can move back in.
We're literally paying rent for them to do their job wrong and for us to get sick.
With help from the Shepherd Housing Authority, both women are staying in hotels now, but Dozier says her family is still suffering.
We've decided we've not paid our mortgage on our house in South Carolina so we could get a mold assessment, and we've not paid our credit card bills because we have to pay for food because we have to eat.
Since Balfour Beatty's contract is through the Department of Defense and not Shepherd, Ham says she understands how hard it's been for officials with the Housing Authority to help residents.
We've had some support, and I'm hopeful that our command will be able to help us.
She adds she's hopeful tonight's town hall will be more than just a meeting.
I hope that it will be educational. I hope it'll bring to light some of the issues and some of the concerns, some of the failures that have happened in this neighborhood, and so that our military families can have the homes that they deserve that do not make them sick.